and suddenly, in the middle of this date, I fell in love already, and
And you decided to stay.
for Jews in Israel, it's like very important the community and keep everyone together. And once there is someone that like breaking off this community, it's like a big balagan, and you have this pressure, like I said, from family and friends that when she's going to convert, when it's going to happen. In order for me in the past to cry, I needed to see like a romantic movie or read something sad to force myself to cry.
Because if two people don't communicate, especially their needs or feelings, they don't know each other, right?
Mhm.
Are you happy in our relationship?
I am.
Well, you are still here. Hi everyone, my name is Natalia, originally from Poland.
And I'm Oran, originally from Israel.
We are married. And this is our podcast, Balagan, in Polish Bałagan, in English just a mess.
Yes, and like a mess, chaos, or also could be good, right? Like in Israel, they say "Yalla balagan" to have like, let's start the action.
Why Balagan? Because in the relationship, family, and so on, there's always Balagan. As you said, positive or negative, right?
Mhm.
And this is our job to deal with this Balagan day by day. Long story short, how we met.
Mhm. Yeah, so basically I went a few years ago to a salsa festival in Warsaw, Warsaw, and then because this is what like my hobby, like what I like to do, and I wanted to just escape reality and have fun. And unrelated to this, because I was traveling in Warsaw, I posted some stories, and then a friend was, "Oh, you should talk to this girl. She will recommend you stuff." And we started to talk. And in the beginning, it was very like touristic, like yes, you should go to this place and this. But I said, well, this girl looks very good, and also the conversation. I felt like I want that some push for something or someone that I need to talk to her more, and we started to talk more and meet. We have an amazing first date that I didn't even know that it was first date, but maybe we'll elaborate it later.
Exactly. Maybe the fact that we didn't treat it as a date made it very
Relaxed and
light,
ongoing,
right?
yeah. And then like we really talked about the real things, like really deep conversations, our values and what's important to us, and suddenly, like in the middle of this date, I fell in love already, and
you decided to stay.
mhm.
Let's stop it here about the story. We can talk a little bit more about this later, but I think that's the point that you came as a tourist to Poland and you decided to stay
Because of love.
because of love. It happens, but why it can be balagan for our families, of course, for us also. He's a Israeli Jew. I am Polish Christian Catholic. I am from religious family, very traditional. Also, religion and maybe faith plays a very important role in my life. And why we are talking about this today? Because some time ago we watched
This TV
Netflix
show,
show.
Nobody Wants This,
Yes.
which was very like, when we look at it in first sight, it was very similar to what we are experiencing, but when we get deeper, we understand not so much. But it was still like super fun to watch and super interesting to watch in different way of views. Where in this show, basically, there is not even Christian, more like an atheist American girl, and a rabbi, a Jewish rabbi that is more reformic for me, but let's say a Jewish rabbi.
Very reforming.
Very reformic, but for some reason their connection together, like they really fall in love in each other, but a lot of stuff that related to religion and to their life, to day-to-day life, like basically trying to stop them from being together. Like the things that the surrounding is more trying to stop this thing that happen between them, which is the perfect match for each other.
Mm-hmm. So let's maybe dive deep into this, the love between Jewish rabbi and the shikse. I remember one of the shows. I have this word. It means Goya or non-Jewish
I think
woman.
it's even worse than this. But,
Yes, but it was one of the shows, and I found, wow, what a sexy word. And then I understood when people in Israel told me
the real meaning
it's a
is very bad word. Yeah.
bad word. But I still think it's sexy. So, so yes. So what do you think? Maybe what do you think about it? Like in context of our relationship, because there obviously it was in the show a big balagan, a big mess, because the rabbi community and also his family were not happy about it.
Yes, a lot of people are like try to push them away from each other if it's from his family or her family or friends.
Yeah, like her family was atheist or like secular, but it's also
they
like
point out, right?
Exactly,
the
like how you
differences.
will, like maybe he will want to change you in the way that you don't want. So yes, so let's talk about us. Like it was also, I wouldn't say it was not an issue. It was an issue. We talked on our first date that you knew from the beginning who I am, because we tried to communicate from the first meeting,
Yes, all the
very honest.
important stuff.
But
Yeah.
on the other hand, our families, our parents, or
For
some
them
friends,
it
wasn't easy, right? Especially
yes.
from your side.
Yeah, from my side, because it's like for Jews in Israel, it's like very important the community and keep everyone together. And once there is someone that like breaking off this community, it's like a big balagan. It's basically like big no-no. They are trying all the time, even from government level, to reduce the amounts of Jews that converted to different religion or run away or marry non-Jewish, and then basically this family is not going to be Jewish because Jews become Jews mostly by from the mother side by blood. And once you break it, like you are like cutting off the line, right? So there are a lot of people that were like problem with this. People that they wanted maybe think about it, maybe what it means for your if you will live in Israel, maybe it will be problematic. Because in Israel, everyone, right, asking you on the street, are you Jewish? Are you Jewish? Or which, what are you? Are Mizrahi, Ashkenazi, Polish, or Lithuanian? Like, what exactly are you? All the time, this is like more very important questions that even they ask it on the first date sometimes or before that. And here, I didn't feel that much those things.
Although my family also, it was not easy for them to accept the fact, because okay, to be honest, this is not easy. Like religion is one of the very the most important thing about that is connected to your identity, who you are, where you come from, especially like in Israel. Like Israel is this religious state, but to me, to my parents, or in general to people, to my relatives, it's like what, he's Žid, he's a Jew. So it is complicated, right? Because we need to. It requires work from both sides, like compromise, or to how to answer a lot of questions, like how I will not give up on my own values, you will not give up on yours, and we are still together.
Yes.
And another thing, I think I want to mention that you told me like a couple years ago, before we met, what you said to your mother, that you will never marry Polish, right?
Yeah, this is not a more cultural thing, but that everyone around me, all those Polish, like my babcia,
Polish Jews.
Yeah, but anyway, I see it everywhere that the Polish are stressful people.
Yes, we are.
Very stressed, and I got tired of this stress. I said I will never marry Polish girl, and then look what happened. Now I
Exactly.
need to deal with this, like really deal with that someone else's stress and how I'm not going to be stressed as well.
Mhm.
And it's like some instead of like have the easy solution to marry someone that is not Polish or something.
Yeah, I had similar because I used to live for a while in Israel in the past, and as you mentioned, there are different types of Jews, right? Like
Mhm.
it depends where your family came
Came from
from
originally, yeah.
originally. So your family from Europe, from
Mhm.
mostly from Poland, from Germany, right? But there are those that came from Arabic countries, right? For example, and
And the mentality, their mentality
mentality
is
is different,
different,
right?
values are different, even the way they
Exactly.
pray is different.
Exactly. So I also said to myself after like some
Experiences.
experiences that okay, I'm leaving this country and I want to find proper Polish. I want Polish men. I'm tired of those Israelis. So I found Polish, but
Polish, in Israeli, you
Polish
found
shit.
yes, you found the entire box of something that you didn't thought that you will find, right?
Mhm.
Yes, you told me even once that maybe I will be becoming nun. I give up on dating. Or this was just to make your Jadek angry.
Yes. But coming back to the show, I think it touched a very important topic about the topic which is connected to choosing, like
Mhm.
because it's very hard. The rabbi had to make a very hard choice.
Yes, big sacrifices, right? We need to decide because they basically in the end they put him on ultimatum, or you are keeping your work as a rabbi in this synagogue, or this girlfriend, or you and you break up with this girlfriend, or you just make her converted, or you
Mhm.
keep with her and her values, but you need to leave.
Yes, because in Judaism, I think it's very important this community, right?
Yes.
Like it's not just your family, but also you're part of the Jewish community, part of your
Mhm.
own synagogue, right? Especially as you are as a rabbi. I guess in real world in Israel, it's totally impossible that the rabbi will marry or will be
Yes,
in a relationship
definitely.
with the non-Jewish woman. But yes, there that was an issue.
Mhm.
Both
It
like
was very weird also because they are very this in the show they show them like very liberal and so on, right? Like even there was woman rabbi or they were very
Mhm.
light about a lot of stuff, but this for them at least how they showed in the show it was big major issue to a topic to handle,
Mhm.
right? And because they wanted, I guess, to choose one thing that maybe can cause very big conflict and how to navigate it. Because some other stuff, maybe even in Israel itself, like there are people that say they keep Shabbat Saturday and people they don't.
Mhm.
And then when they get together, someone needs to make the sacrifice. Usually, this is what I didn't like about didn't want to date a lot of religious girls because usually the sacrifice comes for the guy from the person that is not secular because from the religious person this is like a rule. No way I'm breaking up this rule for anyone.
So, for example, if you are with a religious woman and you are not, but still you will not be able to drive in the Shabbat, right?
Drive,
Or go to this,
cooking, even opening the light sometimes in some
yeah, like
places.
lots of
A,
changes,
a lot
right?
of changes that of your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Or in a regular day, don't eat the kosher, which is very
Mm-hmm.
taim. Pishn. But yeah, and all those stuff that this is why I was getting a lot of time back down from religion because in Judaism, it's to me at least how I see it. Maybe others probably see it differently, but it's a lot of set of rules that you need to follow in order to satisfy the God and your surrounding. By this, the more you're like more dedicated, this is why they call those Hasidics in Hebrew Haredim because they are like it's from the word Hared, which is afraid, which means that you are afraid from God. You are afraid you do
Mm-hmm.
something. If you do something wrong, lightning will hit you or something like this.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all their life is about this, and all their life is like about asking the rabbi, "Can I cook with this pan eggs? If I cook before this schnitzel, is it
Mm-hmm.
meat or milk?" And a lot of like things that are very very restrictive, very you need to follow, and if you don't, you I don't know, break the contract between you and God. And here from you, I learned something totally different. So in this, so if back to the show, in this show that are more showing only this topic as a very hard topic. Sometimes even sometimes these kosher things. Remember this scene? Maybe you can say it about.
Yes, so there was a meeting between those two families of the woman and the rabbi, and they it was at his place, I think.
I think so.
And
Yes.
but her parents or her family
Religious.
brought some pork,
Mhm.
which obviously is not kosher, not allowed. And they showed like hypocrisy that the Jewish mother, like the mother of the rabbi, first put all this meat to the trash, and after some time, they catch her eating from the garbage. All
Yes,
this
because she
pork.
really wanted to try it,
Yeah.
or like this is like a law, some rule that she cannot pass, but she really she now had the opportunity to break it, so
Mhm.
maybe no one will notice, and she can do it. So it was like it's they all the time they live in some all those contradicts
Mhm.
about those rules and so on.
Yeah, like also it's also happened in my religion that
Mhm.
there are people that go into church, let's say every day,
Yeah.
I don't know, for morning mass, evening mass, some prayers during the day, and parents, let's say, during instead of taking care of their children, they are so much involved in this religious life that they are forgetting about the family. But
Mhm.
it's if you ask them, like and they think they are religious, right? That this
Yeah.
is they are doing this for the God, but God actually told them you need to take care of your kids, right? Like you need to
Yes, it's like going to church. They are probably thinking about it like as a check V.
exactly.
That if I do this, okay, God will love me or
Yeah,
something like this.
sometimes parents is telling kids just go to church, and they are sitting in front of TV at home, and they think this is right thing to do, or they are putting so much pressure of those, like those acts, like, oh, you
Yeah.
have to do this, you have to do that, but they are not focused on building the real relationship with the God. To me, being religious, believing in God, means me and God have relationship. Sometimes it's hard, like with the human, right? Sometimes we fight, sometimes we have a good time, sometimes we complain, but there is relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like I talk to him, I ask him for help, I ask him for advice, because doesn't matter if I go to church today and I just sit there for 1 hour and I'm thinking about other things. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
focused. So
Yes,
why I
just
use this is
yeah,
like
why you
wasting
go to?
my time, not even my time. It's also wasting my time and his time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like not respecting him. This is my point of view, right?
Yeah, it's like very interesting for me to see it in a different eyes, basically, because in the Judaism, for me, how I felt is like what you said. Like even there was one time in the army, they asked me to go to join them for a minyan, like because in order to have a prayer, you need at least 8 or 10 people. I don't
Mm-hmm.
exactly remember the number. So I joined them in the synagogue, and I felt like totally clueless. I don't know what I'm doing here. I was like, okay, so I'll just read. And they show me, okay, you need to read from here, and you see everyone like doing this and this and to the sides, and sometimes like raising voice, sometimes lower voice, and like what's going on here? What are they doing? I felt like I'm an outsider, like I'm a tourist in synagogue or something like this. Like I didn't know how even to behave or to act, and like this is how I'm supposed to communicate with God for just reading lines that doesn't mean anything to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just story. How is it? Probably for others, for them, it's like working, right? They're like
Mm-hmm.
we saw in shows, or we saw people that are doing those prayers and they feel amazing and they feel connected to the God in this way. But for me, it didn't work out this way because
Mm-hmm.
I felt that this is for me, it's more like put me in the box and and just you need to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like why I need to do, like I don't understand how is this make me
Mm-hmm.
believe in something.
I think what we started doing those evening prayers, evening
Mm-hmm.
meditations, that we
Just
using very
thankful, yeah.
simple words, say thank you God for this day, thank you for my husband, thank you for my wife, thank you for our family, thank you for also some obstacles that we have every day, because we are facing them and that actually make us stronger together. So for us, I guess I can say this is more
Yes, like we
believing,
found something
keeping.
that connect both of us. Like even we are still staying in our own religion. I'm still Jewish, you are still Christian, and we are still okay. You pray for someone you call Jesus, and I pray for directly for God. For you, it's the same person, but we are using the simple words of asking for help or thanking for something, and like even for example, I remember one day that Gabrisha, like our daughter, was very sick, and I was praying both versions. First, I did the regular, the like what we do, the native, the day to day, to be more connected, and then okay, why not? Let's do also the prayer of that is like by the book for Jews. Something will help us, and eventually everything was fine after 24 hours. But so it maybe it
Thanks
helped.
God. But I think the because what happened between us, right? We respect each other as we are, like, or we accept each other as we are. Like, you don't need to change for me, and I don't need to change for you. So let's talk
Yes.
about this conversion, because this is, I think, one of the most important topics in all the episodes
Yes.
of the show. That there is huge pressure. Okay, they want to be together, so the woman should convert to Judaism.
Which is like the show, they even show it like in a very light way. You have like the fast track of 3 months or
6 months.
or 6 months is like the modern way, and like this is not how I know it. Like to be converted, like the real story is that you need to go to the rabbi, tell him I want to be converted. You knock on the door, hi rabbi, I want to be converted, and he said no you don't, and close the door, and then you need to come again and again. You need to come 3 times, and only if you come 3 times, okay, maybe this crazy person, this Michigan wants to be a Jew, and then they give them all the rules, give them all the instructions what to do and what to learn, and it's like taking them months or years, and they become like very religious in order to be there, to get to this point, to get this stamp that you are now Jew. And even for them, let's say they are become very religious and they want to marry someone their level of religion, like those Hasidics or something like this. For them, they are not Jews. They are still some converted, which is something else that they called in the Bible ger, I think. That it's like different level of person. It's not a Jew, so they cannot marry them.
So yeah, so this shows that it is possible, obviously, but it's supposed to be your inner decision.
Yes.
Like, okay, I feel, I do believe in this way, so
I do this for this. Yeah.
Like, yes, and this should come from your heart, because not like, okay, I met a woman, and in order to be with her,
I need now to convert.
Yes, because I have pressure from family, from society, right?
For government, even because like in Israel, if you want to have a wedding, you need to be the same religion, right? You need to be, let's say, both of you Jews. Otherwise, you cannot have the wedding in Israel. You need to go outside of Israel to do this wedding, or even the divorce and so on. Like everything is like you need to be. This is like the way to do it, and you have this pressure, like you said, from family and friends, that when she's going to convert, when it's going to happen. Like you cannot be like if you're even a different level. If you're like a Cohen family or Levi family, you cannot even think about marrying someone like that. Or, that is not true.
Don't you think it's not fair? Because it means like this person doesn't accept you, and he will only accept you if you change.
Yes.
But changing religion is like changing identity. This is what we said before. Like, it's very important, serious decision that's supposed to be your decision. And what if, let's say, they marry, and then after some time they divorce? So
now we are Jew or back to your Christianity or other religion. So yeah, it's like you already changed for this person.
Yes.
And it's not like a change, like I don't know, put like change your eye colors or other plastic surgery or something like this. This is something fundamental in your soul.
Yes.
It's not superstition from the outside.
But also they showed connected to this that this rabbi had this idea. Okay, I want to be with this woman. I fell in love, so maybe she will convert. All right, but he was afraid to talk
to her about
straight,
it, yes.
to be straightforward, to say, listen, this is the idea. All the time he was like avoiding this topic.
Yes,
because there is this fear of rejection, right? Like you so want to be with this person, but on the other hand, all the time something is bothering you, right? So you pretend, oh, everything is fine. You are like, you have this people pleasing,
which is we are both sinning.
I don't think it's a sin. I think it's some kind of
behavioral that you want to
we developed during our life.
But we are working on it.
Yes, we do, of course.
So yes, it's like it's a very hard topic, like because what he was doing basically was all the time. I feel it also sometimes that instead of like put what you want to say and what you feel and what is your values, you try to please the other person, and then basically you are become more stressed, more unsure, more less assertive, and so on, and the other person see it and feel it. So it's like something is wrong with your decisions and making and so on. So it's like you're basically hurting yourself, but by doing this pleasing.
Sometimes it happens like people. It happens. It's also from my own experience that let's say you are dating someone and you are so amazed about this person, so you are sometimes afraid to show your real face, and you are putting kind of mask. And then there is a time that you will remove this mask. Good that it will happen sooner, not later. But there are some couples, and this is why maybe there are so many divorces, that people living with this mask
all their life, and then suddenly they change it and remove it because they
say, okay, this value actually is important to me, and then
the other side is like, this is not the person I was married. This is not what I was expecting and to have my entire life, and suddenly who is this person? It's someone else. Like I don't know, like I want this. This person wanted this ambitious woman, and suddenly she's standing on herself and like, wait, this is not what I anticipated to have later on in life. So I don't want this relationship. But wait, you have now kids, you have now family. Like this is like something harder to break, right?
I think it's important to share from the beginning the values that you believe in, right?
Yeah, you need to be an open book from the beginning and not to hide or stuff to please the other person, because in the end, this lie or something or this mask will go down, and then what? Why you did it until now, right?
Yeah, you can share your experience. How what is people pleasing for you? Like if you, let's say, do something just to make me happy, then it's disaster, no?
Yes, because then I'm all the time stressed to make you happy, that you will be will be perfect for you, and you see me that I'm like this, or you're like, why is like this? What's going on? What's happening here? And you are, and then you're like, basically, it's not make you feel good. It doesn't make you feel safe. Versus if I will be more assertive and tell you this is what we are going to do, or this is what we are going to be, or this is how things going to be from now on, in this specific scenario, and you will be more safe and feel more safe when I will have like deterministic decisions and not like maybe I don't know try to guess like what you're thinking, which is like the worst thing I can do.
Yeah. And that's why we had, especially at the beginning of our relationship, tensions, right? That we both didn't know how to express, how to communicate. I think communication, this is the key.
Yes, even if it's English our second language for both of us, this is not an entire excuse. Maybe sometimes you don't use the right words.
Yeah, of
But
course. This is just an excuse. Oh, I don't know how to say this in English. Like in the show, they didn't communicate.
no, a lot
Like
of times, yeah,
many times, there were tensions or this silence. I think the silence is very very helpful. Like they at some point people stop communicating because
yes,
they are both like afraid.
to say something wrong, right?
Yes, or this is like paradox because you really want this relationship, you don't want to lose this
Yeah,
relationship, but you are actually
distance yourself
losing
from it,
yourself, right?
or this relationship. You're
Mm-hmm.
basically distance yourself from her or from this relationship. You're because of the silence, because you don't want to say the wrong things, and then you are like you are unintentionally basically destroying it little by little, right?
But I think it's also a man thing. Maybe it's a stereotype, but it's hard for men to talk about your emotions, no?
Yes,
Like
because
to be honest with yourself and tell me, okay, I feel bad, or to tell me about your weaknesses. At the beginning, it was hard, right?
because yes, this is how we've been raised as from little age. That there is even a very famous song in Israel, which means the men cry in the night, because this is the only time they are allowed to cry. That no one will see them crying. You're not allowed to cry before, and you are a little kid and you cry, and it's like you are a man, you are a boy, you're not supposed to cry. Uh, so this is like something that they teach you, and I think it's in all societies like this, not just in Israel. And and then it's like, okay, so you're just holding stuff, pushing, and you are not sharing what you really feel. You're not sharing what you really think. You are not allowing yourself to cry. And I saw it in a lot of times, for example, that girls like, and I read about it, girls like, let's say you said about something, you cry it out. This is like a thing, yes? You cry it out, and then you feel better about it. And then in order for me in the past to cry, I needed to see like a romantic movie or read something sad to force myself to cry, because in alone, because I couldn't reach out to the point to do it naturally. And also to share emotions, share with someone else like you, or even my friends, or my psychology, or something, like to talk to someone. This is so important, because like you have this stage, you feel better after you say what you want to say, and instead of just pushing it.
Mm-hmm. So, like, to me, a partner who is emotionally available, it's like, wow. It's one of the most important things I'm looking for. I was looking for.
Uh,
um, because what if, let's say, I meet someone and every day everything perfect. I ask, how are you? Oh, everything fine. Maybe you have some problems. No, I get it. Everything fine. But then you are accumulating all those fears, all this anger inside yourself, right?
yes.
And then somehow you will explode, or your
Eventually,
body.
or your body will feel it, right? You have the stomach pain and migraines, a lot of physical issues, because the body will basically, okay, if he doesn't talk it out, I will make him spread it out in a different way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this is like you need to, like, I think it's something very important to be able to share this important those things, those topics, those feelings. Uh,
You are not like that always, right?
no. In the past, I wasn't. I was more like what I said, like a very like try to hold it up. I even remember one time I was dating some girl, and for a few months, and all the time that like it was very bothering me that I was texting her or talk to her, and she would can see my or not see my message, and not talk to me for even if I will not even say something, she could not talk to me even for 1 or 2 weeks. Probably she was dating the time maybe other people, or I don't know what was this, but for me it was terrible, because I didn't say to her that this is bothering me. and I don't accept this excuse of
You
I'm a
are-
bad texter.
You are just crying, staying alone in the dark as a proper Polish.
Exactly, yes.
This is, by the way, stereotype about Polish people, Polish Jewish people in Israel. I didn't know about this, but sometimes it's true.
Yeah, so I was eating myself out, building scenarios in the head. Why she's not responding? What should I do? Maybe I wrote the wrong text. Maybe it's wrong. It was a yes and no question, and I should open question, or should I maybe call her instead of text her? Like a lot of things. Like all the time, my brain was working, and I felt very bad about it. And I never told her that this was bothering me. You know. Eventually, we broke up. And I actually felt totally sababa with this because I felt there is no relationship here. I'm just suffering, you know.
Yes, because if two people don't communicate, especially their needs or feelings, they don't know each other, right?
Yeah, it's like totally strangers that just meet from
Yes,
time
I
to time.
remember. Like you wanted at the beginning to impress me, right? Because I guess you were you really wanted this relationship, like we both wanted, but you really wanted to impress me, or like not disappoint me. So you were like agreeing for everything that I wanted, or I was suggesting something, and even if you didn't like the idea, you were like, okay, okay, or I don't know, you were eating more food than I cooked. No more.
Yes, I was eating all the food that you're cooking, even if it's too much. It was too much for me.
Exactly.
I was cleaning up the plate. Part of it was the pleasing. Part of it was maybe something here related to Holocaust that all Polish Jews have. That your Jadek was eating potatoes from the chmichi. You need to from the trash. You need to finish the entire plate. So it was like
yeah, we have also from, but most from
communist
time, we didn't really have much this thing.
Yes, we both have the same, for the same reason. Like all the time, there is bread in the freezer, right?
Oh yes, yeah, there is bread in the freezer. But coming back to religion, it's not even the topic when we talk about two different religions, I think. Because let's say, even if you are not Catholic, if you are not Christian, if you are not part of my society, my community, you are still going with me to church on Sunday, let's say, because we are family, and you are doing this to also keep our relationship, right?
This, for me, this is the respectful way to do it, right? Like if there was a possibility for you to go to synagogue.
I wish we could go together to synagogue and pray, but it's not. I think I would want this more than you, but but it's not an issue. It's not, unfortunately, because it's like being. I think it's nice to be at least a bit interested in your partner world, right?
Yes, I learned stuff. It doesn't mean that I'm not Christian in any way. And,
it also causes lots of questions, right? Sometimes when we go after church, when we go for a walk, you're asking me, why is like that? Why is like that? Because we share the same part of the Bible, the old, we call it Old Testament, and then we believe as a Christians in the second part. And then this causes lots of questions, right? Like, because in the Old Testament it says one thing, and then the Jesus created new law respecting the old one, but also created another one. And I really like debating about it. And what I really like, and what I think is very important in the relationship, we don't need to agree with everything, right?
Yes.
It's even good that we are not the same, like, and we have different points of view. But it's nice arguing, no?
Yeah, it's like,
I'm not saying fighting.
It's like debating, right?
Debating, but sometimes, yes, sometimes there is argument, because sometimes I feel that I want to express something that maybe it can be like a trigger for you, that can be something hurtful, right?
Yes.
Let's say I will touch the topic about this people pleasing that you have, right? That will touch you. or
Yes.
you will touch my hard topic that is for me hard, which is connected to perfectionism, also people pleasing, because for me it's also hard, even as a woman, to show weakness sometimes, and I'm taking too much. I think this woman in the show also was a bit like that. She was like very independent woman, right?
Yes, like everything she was doing, she was having their own podcast. She was living alone. She was her family was totally a mess, so she was not even relying on anyone, right?
Yeah, so for her it is like different world. Wow, this is like a family that is like so like they are together.
Yes,
it's actually maybe nice to spend time together, right? And there in her family it was like everyone has
his own spot. They're not even connected.
They're not really connected.
The parents are divorced and they're not talking to each other. Her sister is a whole world, and even this was sometimes causing clashes, right?
So it's not. So she didn't have this example of the relationship between family members, right?
Yes.
So it's nice to be exposed to something like that, and it will trigger you. It will bother you because
you don't have it.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. You don't have it, and maybe you wish you have something like that, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think after what we talked about, and in general, are you happy in our relationship?
I am.
Well, you are still here.
Yeah.
You didn't
I'm not
run
going
away
anywhere,
exactly. What do you think it keeps us together the most?
I think the most is our conversations that we have every day almost. Our conversations together with
which are not easy many times, right? Like which are
like we are sharing what bother us in each other, or what we did, like that something that happened. Sometimes I even say it immediately, or if I see it, if I'm proud of you, and so on. And you're the same with me, and even if it's like something that we don't like to hear, we just still say it. We talk about it. We say what maybe we should do differently, acting differently, but still according to our values or what's important to us. With raising the kid, with being in the family, everything related. And I think it's like those conversations are like brain triggers that are like continue this relationship alive, and I feel even developing. They are like it makes us closer basically each day. This is what I feel.
Yes, I agree. I think communication is the key. Even though it's hard sometimes to hear from your partner something negative, right?
Yes.
Or something that, hey, you hurt me, or it's
Because
very painful
this is the
what you are
person that
saying to
you
me.
the most don't want to hurt, right?
Yes.
You sometimes don't even notice that you did this act and it's hurting the
Or
other
if
person.
you are people pleaser, you are, what?
Yes.
She's saying me that I'm hurting her? What?
Yes.
It's really hard to hear this kind of feedback, the honest feedback from your partner. Honest feedback. It's sometimes it's hard for me to say because people pleaser don't want really to
touch conflicts, right?
Exactly, to touch negative stuff, but it's important, right?
Yes.
So in the end, they say nobody wants this in the show, but I guess at least us,
we do.
Oh, exactly. I think the conclusion of this conversation is that the most important, we want it, right?
Yes.
Even though someone can have problems,
or problem someone else have his mind, I don't care. We want this and we make it work, and we are making it work every day, I think.
Exactly. It's everyday work. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you.
And thank you for watching.